everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back with the third part of my three-ish part video series aiming to get you ready for the new formats that Konami has devised for the new year. Just to bring you up to speed, if you haven't watched my other two videos, firstly, go watch them. I need the oh shit, that's actually toss. I can't say that. And secondly, on December 22nd, Konami released this document detailing a slew of new formats they were going to sanction at OTSs. Now, we've already talked about Common Charity and Deckmaster, but today I'm going to take a look at what I expect to be the last interesting one of these formats, Time Wizard. Heart of the Underdog is functionally just no Xyz, Pendulum, Synchro Summoning lobbies from Edo Pro but sanctioned, and Rivalry of Warlords is sealed deck based on what Konami gives OTSs, so I imagine there's not a ton of way to plan for those. I'm just reading from the document again. The Time Wizard format is a way for OTSs to sanction retro format tournaments. The tournament setting will revolve around the rules and mechanics of the game as they were played during a specific point in time. All that's required when setting up the tournament is a forbidden and limited list that's being used and the latest legal set. If Time Wizard traveled back to the US Championships in 05, the tournament would be using the April 2005 forbidden and limited list, and the last legal set would be Dark Beginnings 2. So like the other two, this raises a ton of questions which are not answered on this document. Firstly, what are the historical rulings? Digging up rulings from the UDE era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really difficult because the rulings were not set in stone and were changed event to event. Cards like Last Will don't really have a concrete timeline of what they did when, so much so that GOAT format, one of the most popular alt formats of all time, just updated how the card works last year. Additionally, we should probably at minimum know if you can play cards that have been errata'd since. I'd hope so, because a lot of the old errata versions of cards that have since been reprinted are a lot more expensive than their modern counterparts. But at bottom, this is what a lot of OTSs, including my own, have already been doing, playing retro format Yu-Gi-Oh! As a side event companion to Advanced. So today I'm going to talk about a handful of formats that I think are likely going to be represented at Time Wizard formats nationwide. If it isn't on this list, sorry, you're on your own. So first up, unsurprisingly, is GOAT format. GOAT format is Yu-Gi-Oh! As it existed in the summer of 2005. So even if you don't play old Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats, you've probably heard of GOAT format. It used to be the only undisputed good alternative format. That's because the way that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was in 2005 was so radically different from the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Is now, and a lot of old school players really disliked the changes. Archetypes didn't really exist in the way we conceive of them now, individual card choices mattered a ton, gameplay was slow, methodical, and resource-oriented. Historically, this was a one-deck format that revolved around Scapegoat Control, a deck that aimed to use the synergy between Metamorphosis, Thousand Eyes Restrict, and Scapegoat to outgrind opponents. There were also a couple of nondescript aggro decks flying around as well, but mostly you were playing that. These days, lists are far more solved. Most of the good decks are trying to do something with Metamorphosis, Scapegoat, and Chaos monsters, although powerful options are available pretty much for any style of play, including duelists who want to play Dimension Fusion, burn cards, FTKs, and other things that will get you kicked out of a playgroup. Next up is Reaper format, and this one is my fault. So Reaper format is Yu-Gi-Oh! As it existed in February of 2006 after the release of Shadow of Infinity. I think. There's some disagreement over whether Shadow of Infinity should be legal or not. It adds one card to the card pool, Treeborn Frog, but Treeborn Frog's really good. This format was a blip on no one's radar until Alex and I spent about 5 episodes playing it during history, and while I do like it, I'm not going to claim that it's without its faults. Historically, the format was Chaos Good Stuff decks built by GOAT format holdouts and a couple of Monarchs here or there, but since then, 2 cards that saw, like, 0 play in 2006 have come to absolutely dominate the format, Last Will and Cyberstein. Cyberstein finally has a good target in Cyber Twin Dragon, and it functionally has made the format occasionally revolve around the imminent threat of death that can occur anytime your opponent's hit over 5,000. Good decks in this format include Stein Monarch, which will tribute a Treeborn Frog to summon a Monarch, then activate Last Will to Stein you out of the game, Dead Rat, a Recruiter control deck that uses Pyramid Turtle to summon Ryu Koki, and Bazoo Return, which uses a synergy between Bazoo the Soul Eater and Return from the Different Dimension to OTK opponents. Like GOAT, there are also deck choices available if you're a bad person, like Burn or Rescue Cat OTK, but they're fewer and farther between. I like this format a lot, but if you're not cool with Stein deciding like 20% of games, maybe look elsewhere. Next up is Edison format. Now, I'm going to be real with you, this is probably why they made Time Wizard. Edison format is Yu-Gi-Oh! As it was played in April of 2010 at a YCS that took place in Edison, New Jersey. Historically, the format was dominated by, well, nothing really. But it's clear that Quick Draw Dandy Warrior was a really good deck. Under the surface, however, was an intensely complex and open format that was criminally underexplored just by virtue of how short it was. Unlike GOAT, it really feels like Yu-Gi-Oh! You're playing decks that often do combo off, it's just the interplay between these decks is a little more fair than it is now. Since Edison format lapsed, it has attracted a dedicated community of players, YouTube channels, and content creators all trying to break the format. It's become a regular side event at my home local already. One of these communities has also compiled all the errata, rulings, and weirdness from the era already, making it a TO's dream. Good decks in this format include Quick Draw Dandy Warrior, Blackwing, Diva Hero, Machina Gadget, Lightsworn, Frog Monarch, Zombies. It is just amazing. Now, the one downside to this format, in my opinion, is that royal oppression is legal. Tengu Plant. Tengu Plant can refer to a number of formats, but people usually use it to describe a period after the ban list in September of 2011, right around YCS Toronto. Historically, this format was dominated by two decks. First, a deck that used plant-type synchro summoning enablers to convert Tengu into powerful bosses, called Tengu Plant, Synchro Plant, and Synchrocentric, and Agents, an out-of-the-structure playable fairy deck. Unfortunately, this is one of the very few formats that's gotten worse with scrutiny. This is opinion, of course, but Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning's unban alongside Darkhole and Monster Reborn means you frequently die out of nowhere because of issues beyond your control. Additionally, there's a lack of community consensus as to whether Dark World is legal or not. Many people think that the deck is integral to their Tengu experience, but it actually came out a few weeks after Toronto and is responsible for one of the worst mirrors in the history of time. HAT, short for Hand Artifact Trap Tricks, actually refers to 3 periods of format. Early HAT, which spans from Primal Origin to Realm of Light, High HAT, which lasts until the July 2014 Forbidden and Limited list, and Late HAT, which plays under Master Rule 3 and lasts until Duelist Alliance. Historically, this was an incredibly diverse format. Top decks included HAT, Yugioh, Infernity, Mermail, and tons of others. This format was extremely popular while it was being played, and also immediately after it ended, but since then it hasn't seen the explosion that other alt formats have. It's not hard to see why. Chronologically, it followed the dire Dragon Ruler format and preceded Duelist Alliance, which would forever change how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played, and its popularity kind of dwindled as people got over themselves. And finally, TOS. TOS format, short for Thunder Orcus Striker Salamangrate, is a format that lasted from Dane in May of 2019 until basically COVID. The format itself is warped around the 4 decks for which it's named, which all have extremely interesting counterplay with each other, all represent radically different styles of gameplay, and all reward skilled pilots. Well, except for Thunder. Ooh, you summoned Colossus. Ooh. This one doesn't really have an online following. COVID and just the newness of it has kind of kept it under wraps, but I imagine a lot of people who stopped buying cards when COVID started would like an opportunity to dust off their old deck. There's also not a community consensus as to what should count as the list and rule set for TOS, but I'd like to make an argument for the October 2019 ban list. This is the one that hit Mermaid and Agripane and Widow Anchor. This would keep Orcust from being a splash rather than a deck, and limit Widow Anchor, without which Striker is pretty clearly the best deck. And that's pretty much it. In terms of others you might see floating around, Yugi Kaiba is semi-popular on Format Library. That's a format for individuals who get a senior discount when they order from TCG Player. Inov, or ABC format, is being popularized by RJ, I believe. It's extremely diverse, but very short-lived. And Rulers, or Necros, or Zoo are all kind of formats that contain 1 or 2 really powerful decks that choke the life out of the format in terms of diversity, but play well against each other and give players an opportunity to flex their individual skill. All in all, super happy about this one, though it would really help things if Konami released a GOAT rulebook. Yo, Dyer, I'm getting this to you really late. I expect you to finish this by like pre-New Year's or even New Year's, and definitely restructure any New Year's plans around it.